The British royal family is a perennial source of intrigue, capturing the public's imagination with stories of its members' relationships, duties, and personal lives. One relationship that has recently drawn attention is that between Princess Charlotte and her step-grandmother, and now the young princess is determined to show everyone who is the real Queen Camilla. What happened? Let's find out. The generational dynamic. Princess Charlotte, now 9 years old, holds an important position as the second child of Prince William and Kate Middleton, the Prince and Princess of Wales. As the granddaughter of King Charles III and Queen Camilla, she is part of a new generation of royals who represent a modernized monarchy. Unlike Queen Camilla, who joined the royal family later in life under a cloud of controversy, Charlotte has grown up steeped in tradition and public scrutiny from birth. Meanwhile, Queen Camilla has navigated decades of public opinion to cement her position as the king's consort. Her path to royalty is markedly different from the straightforward trajectory that Charlotte will follow. These contrasting journeys, Camilla's hard-fought acceptance into royal life and Charlotte's seamless integration from birth, create an inherent generational dichotomy, one often played out in public engagements. A number of publicized moments have fueled rumors about the relationship between the young princess and Camilla, and now Charlotte decided that the UK should know the true colors of their queen. But to understand this, we have to understand everything that led to it. Could Charlotte's upbringing in a household so connected to Diana subtly influence her view of Camilla? Does Camilla's adherence to royal formality create a barrier with a child from a more relaxed and modern royal generation? These questions tap into the very heart of the drama currently going on behind the palace walls, changing royal norms. The clash of generations. The royal family stands as a paradox of continuity and change, where generations grapple with expectations shaped by tradition while adapting to an increasingly modern world. As I have already mentioned, this generational shift becomes strikingly evident in the apparent tension between Princess Charlotte, a symbol of the monarchy's modern future, and Queen Camilla, whose ascent to power is rooted in an older, more traditional royal model. The modern upbringing of the Wales children, guided by the values of William and Kate, starkly contrasts with the traditional, hierarchical integration Queen Camilla experienced when she married into the royal family. This generational divide has created a visible disconnect in how Princess Charlotte and Camilla approach their shared royal roles. Charlotte represents a newer era of the royal family, where appearances are balanced with emotional warmth and relatability. Her parents, William and Kate, prioritize raising their children with greater flexibility and groundedness, as demonstrated by their insistence on giving their children as normal a childhood as possible. Despite royal expectations, regular outings, informal parenting techniques, and an emphasis on mental health contrast sharply with Camilla's more rigid assimilation into royal life. Through this lens, Charlotte's interaction with Camilla may reflect the dissonance between a child raised in a compassionate, modern environment and a grandmother-like figure molded by decades of formal royal expectations. While Camilla strives to exude the regal qualities demanded of her position, her formal demeanor may come across as distant or out of touch to a child growing up in a monarchy that now strives for authenticity and public connection. Adding to the problem is that Camilla's royal identity was shaped by her marriage to King Charles III, a process that required her to not only overcome the stigma of being an outsider but also adapt to decades-old traditions. Her public image has always prioritized propriety, and her approach to royal duties reflects this deeply embedded formality. For someone like Princess Charlotte, who is accustomed to the more relaxed interactions cultivated within the Wales family, Camilla's traditional presentation might feel stiff and emotionally distant. Generational differences within families are natural, but within the royal family, they are amplified by centuries of expectations and scrutiny. Charlotte's confidence and autonomy, evident in public appearances, are reflective of her upbringing. At times, these traits appear at odds with Camilla's reserved and traditional stance, creating a dynamic where neither fully comprehends the other's perspective. The public's perception of Camilla as queen consort has always been deeply polarized. Once rocky relationship with King Charles, long overshadowed by Diana's enduring legacy, casts a long shadow on how younger generations of the family, especially Charlotte, may view her role within the monarchy. Public incidents. The interplay between Princess Charlotte and Queen Camilla has sparked much public debate, with specific incidents scrutinized for potential underlying tension. One of the most prominently cited moments happened during Queen Elizabeth II's state funeral in September 2022. Royal watchers highlighted an incident during the Samba procession to Wellington Arch, where Prince George and Princess Charlotte joined their parents to pay respects to their late great-grandmother. Reports suggest that Charlotte reacted after her elder brother George pinched her, prompting a loud ouch and a pointed glare at him. The reaction, while natural for siblings, drew attention amidst the otherwise solemn and highly formal ceremony. However, the real controversy came from the Queen Consort Camilla's reported response. According to insiders, Camilla, visibly irritated, allegedly frowned and instructed Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales, to take Charlotte aside. Observers interpreted this as a rebuke of Charlotte's behavior. While many sympathized with Camilla's role in maintaining decorum, others criticized her approach as unnecessarily severe given Charlotte's young age and the extraordinary circumstances of the event. Viewers who followed live broadcasts were quick to weigh in on social media, but at the time, opinions were divided. Some defended Camilla's stern reaction as an effort to uphold royal propriety, while others suggested that such formality failed to account for the natural behavior of children in emotionally charged situations. The coronation of King Charles III in May 2023 provided another publicized moment involving Princess Charlotte and Queen Camilla. As part of the formalities, Charlotte, along with her elder brother George, joined their parents in greeting King Charles and Queen Camilla. Cameras captured a slight stumble by Charlotte as she attempted a deep curtsy for her grandfather. However, notably absent was any curtsy directed at Camilla. While the incident could easily be chalked up to nervousness or misstep, royal watchers were quick to suggest potential underlying implications. Charlotte's perceived avoidance of Camilla in this moment fueled discussions about the young princess's comfort, or rather discomfort, with her step-grandmother. Some viewers considered this moment unremarkable, attributing it to Charlotte's young age and the magnitude of the event. However, for others, it reinforced earlier perceptions of an intentionally cooler dynamic between Charlotte and Camilla. Was Charlotte's focus solely on her grandfather, or did this moment show the real unwillingness to engage with Camilla in the same way? While singular moments like the funeral or coronation draw attention, they are amplified by a recurring theme in Charlotte and Camilla's interactions. Body language throughout public appearances. Observers have noted that Princess Charlotte's demeanor toward Camilla often appears less warm compared to her interactions with other family members. Subtle signals like averted gaze, more reserved posture, or a tendency to remain physically closer to her parents hint at possible discomfort. For instance, during official photos at royal events, Charlotte is often seen engaging warmly with her parents and brothers, while appearing more detached when standing near Camilla. Some royal watchers interpret this as standard child behavior around a less familiar elder relative. However, when paired with key moments like the alleged funeral rebuke or curtsy omission, these instances collectively fuel the portrayal of distance. Psychologists and body language experts occasionally weigh in on royal matters, and some have suggested that these small cues might reflect the complexities of family dynamics within the monarchy. Unlike biological grandparents, step-grandparents often face additional hurdles in forming close relationships. This dynamic might be magnified for Charlotte, who navigates both familial expectations and public scrutiny at an age where most children's social circles remain relatively small and familiar. Influences shaping Princess Charlotte's view of Queen Camilla. Few royal family dynamics intrigued the public more than the tense and layered relationship between Princess Charlotte and her step-grandmother Queen Camilla. But could it be that there is a deeper reason for Princess Charlotte's reluctance to embrace Camilla? 3 critical influences help illuminate why the young princess might see her step-grandmother as something less than the real queen and the real grandmother. Princess Charlotte, born nearly 2 decades after Princess Diana's death, has been raised in an environment where Diana's presence looms large. For Charlotte, Granny Diana is more than a deceased relative, she is a symbol of kindness, authenticity, and a very different kind of royalty. Her father, Prince William, reportedly makes a pointed effort to keep Diana's memory alive in the Wales household, sharing cherished stories of his mother and ensuring that her values shape the upbringing of his children. Charlotte and her brothers have been raised with reminders of Diana as a family icon. The late princess has been depicted as compassionate, approachable, and relatable, qualities which deeply contrasted with the more formal and controversial Queen Camilla. In photos of Diana that decorate their home or stories passed down from William, Diana holds an exalted, near-mythic status. With this image deeply rooted in Charlotte's young mind, Camilla might feel like a shadow looming over this idealized figure. The emotional weight of Diana's memory could naturally influence Charlotte's perceptions of her step-grandmother, especially given Camilla's role in the turbulence of Diana's life. For a child growing up with reverence for Diana, Camilla may be seen not as an equal but as an uninvited outsider in Diana's story, a sentiment that might even influence Charlotte's small public behaviors and reactions to Camilla at official events. Princess Charlotte's instincts often mirror her immediate family's cues, and none are more influential than her parents. While he publicly supports Charles in his marriage, William in particular carries a complicated history regarding Camilla's place in his life. This cool politeness is almost certainly felt by Charlotte. Children are astute observers of their environment, and the formality her parents demonstrate toward Camilla may make it natural for her to follow suit. Any tension between the older generation ripples outward, leaving younger family members to go through the relationships shaped by underlying fractures. Of course, there are more factors. From a very young age, Princess Charlotte has been immersed in a public-facing life filled with rituals and hierarchy. She understands, even in her youth, that Camilla holds an elevated position, but also likely recognizes the contrast between public reverence for her biological grandmother Diana and the lingering skepticism surrounding Camilla. And as for Princess Charlotte, her sharp observations and confident demeanor suggest that her instincts are keen. Raised in a household that honors authenticity and deeply cherishes Diana's image, Charlotte's restrained warmth toward Camilla hints at the deeper complexity she observes even at a young age. Overhearing controversies, but while it's well known that Queen Camilla, once considered one of the most divisive figures in modern royal history, has carried a reputation steeped in controversy, from her role in the dissolution of Prince Charles and Princess Diana's marriage to her uneasy integration into the royal family, Camilla's journey to becoming queen consort was far from conventional. But what many don't realize is that for Princess Charlotte, who has spent her young life surrounded by a family portrayal that includes both pain and resilience, Camilla's past may hold significant meaning. In fact, sources suggest that overhearing snippets of family conversations about the damage caused by Camilla over the years is exactly what compelled Charlotte to reveal the truth about her step-grandmother. Now, the most enduring and controversial chapter of Queen Camilla's life centers around her relationship with King Charles III while he was still married to Princess Diana. Their affair was an open secret for much of Charles and Diana's troubled marriage, culminating in the infamous Camillagate scandal in 1993. Recorded conversations between Charles and Camilla, made public through tabloid leaks, revealed intimate details of their affair and solidified the public's perception of her as the villain in the story. Diana herself brought Camilla's role in her marriage's collapse to light during her famous 1995 BBC Panorama interview. Her statement became a defining moment in Diana's legacy and fueled public animosity toward Camilla. The image of Camilla as the other woman cast a long shadow, especially after Diana's passing. Even as the years passed, her actions remained etched in the public consciousness. Despite Charles's unwavering commitment to Camilla, earning public favor proved to be a steep uphill battle. For much of the 1990s and early 2000s, polls consistently showed strong resistance to the idea of Camilla being accepted as a legitimate royal figure. Let alone as a potential queen consort, many regarded her as the antithesis of Diana's charm, compassion, and relatability. To rehabilitate her public image, Camilla kept a low profile for years and gradually introduced herself to Charles's official engagements. However, critics argued that her re-emergence as Charles's partner was tactically orchestrated, further feeding public distrust. Even today, Camilla's image remains polarized, especially among younger generations. For a young royal like Charlotte growing up in the middle of these enduring controversies, the weight of family history becomes inescapable. Sources hint that these past controversies, combined with whispers she overheard over the years about how much damage Camilla caused within the family, planted seeds of doubt in Charlotte's mind. In 2005, when Camilla and Charles married, it was announced that Camilla would not be referred to as queen upon Charles's eventual ascension to the throne, but rather as princess consort. This decision was seen as a compromise to mollify a public still attached to Diana's memory. However, as years passed, These terms were quietly renegotiated, culminating in a 2022 announcement from Queen Elizabeth II that Camilla would indeed be named Queen Consort when Charles became king. Even Camilla's role as a stepmother to Prince William and Prince Harry has often been described as distant. Though Charles has expressed his desire for his sons to view Camilla as part of the family, reports indicate that both brothers have maintained formal rather than close relationships with her. Well, that is until Harry simply wasn't good with any of them, but that's not the point here. Back to the story. For William, now first in line to the throne, the emotional scars of his parents' rocky relationship likely made it difficult to fully accept Camilla in the same way he embraced his late mother's memory. William's feelings toward Camilla may have directly influenced how he and Kate raised their children, including Princess Charlotte. Close royal insiders suggest that Camilla's presence at family gatherings is polite but far from familial. For a perceptive child like Charlotte, these subtleties likely contribute to her understanding of who Camilla is and how she fits into the family dynamic. One of the most lasting sources of controversy for Camilla has been her inevitable comparison to Princess Diana. While Diana is celebrated as a cultural icon, Camilla is often seen as a replacement, albeit a deeply contested one. Every royal milestone, from official public appearances to personal family moments, inevitably invites side-by-side evaluations. Even in photographs, Diana's radiant legacy overshadows Camilla's stoic and traditional demeanor. Charlotte, born into a world that lionizes her grandmother Diana, is surrounded by symbols of this everlasting comparison. She is raised on the stories of Diana's compassion and courage, learning directly from her father Prince William about the woman who shaped his values. Camilla's presence, however necessary within the monarchy, stands in stark contrast to the idolized narrative of Diana as the true Queen of Hearts. For Princess Charlotte, these accumulated controversies do not exist in a vacuum. Within her home, family conversations about the lasting effects of Camilla's role in the family, though perhaps unintentional, provide subtle insights into a layered past. Charlotte's position in the family ensures she is well versed in royal legacy, but insiders have revealed that overhearing key details about everything Camilla has done to her family over the years deeply affected her perspective. Sources close to the family report that Charlotte's candid views about Camilla have now surfaced in ways that reveal what she truly thinks about her step-grandmother. Far from the reserved and poised public image expected of her, Charlotte's recent statements have peeled back the carefully controlled royal facade, showing a glimpse into how the young princess really views Camilla's legacy. The real Queen Camilla, happening in a stunning turn of events that has rocked the tight-lipped royal household. Sources close to Buckingham Palace have revealed an extraordinary conversation involving Princess Charlotte and her parents. According to insiders, the 9-year-old princess voiced a bold and striking statement that has since echoed through the walls of the monarchy. During a private family walk through Buckingham Palace, Princess Charlotte's voice cut through the quiet halls. "I'll show you the real Queen Camilla," she declared, her tone resolute. "Charlotte," Kate said gently but firmly, lowering her voice, "you can't say things like that. There are always people listening here." Charlotte turned to her parents with a determined look and replied, "I pray everyone watches this." Her words, though cryptic, carried a weight that left both Kate and William momentarily speechless. According to palace insiders, Charlotte claimed to have overheard a conversation involving Queen Camilla where she expressed sentiments suggesting a preference for her stepson William not ascending to the throne anytime soon, if ever. While these remarks remain unverified, Charlotte reportedly heard enough to conclude that Camilla viewed William's future reign as a complication rather than a cause for celebration. In her honest remarks, Charlotte is said to have explained to William and Kate that Camilla's words were dismissive, referring to William's unsuitability for the throne and contrasting his leadership style with that of King Charles. One palace insider hinted that Charlotte allegedly heard Camilla imply that William's influence within the royal family should be minimized under Charles's reign, possibly to preserve her own authority as queen consort. Upon hearing these comments, Princess Charlotte became resolutely determined to protect her family and confront the subtle manipulations she believes Queen Camilla may be orchestrating. Despite her young age, Charlotte displayed a striking sense of clarity, reportedly telling her parents, "I overheard things that shouldn't have been said. She doesn't want us to succeed." Charlotte elaborated on how this realization began forming during public and private engagements where Camilla's treatment of key family members, including herself, her brothers George and Louis, and even her parents, seemed outwardly polite but subtly undermining. She pointed to small interactions where she felt Camilla seemed indifferent toward the Wales children while playing up her connection to Charles. Sources close to the family say Princess Charlotte's remarks emphasized her deep-seated loyalty to her parents, calling upon them to recognize what she views as attempts by Camilla to maintain control over the royal narrative. "I love Grandpa," Charlotte allegedly added, referring to King Charles III, "but she's not acting the way she pretends to." This alleged revelation didn't arise overnight, however, it wasn't just observations. Palace sources indicate that overhearing the supposed conversation about William's role solidified Charlotte's distrust. The young princess reportedly told William and Kate that she suspected Camilla was trying to ensure Charles's legacy remained unchallenged by William's popularity. "She's worried about you taking over," Charlotte is said to have told her father, showing a remarkably intuitive grasp of the pressures within the monarchy. While the exact nature of Charlotte's plan remains unclear, those close to the situation suggest she is intent on revealing what she believes to be the truth about Camilla to a wider audience. Palace insiders report that Charlotte feels compelled to ensure the public understands the full extent of Camilla's alleged behind-the-scenes influence. Some even claim the young princess is prepared to shed light on not just Camilla's past but also her present actions, which she perceives as detrimental to the future of the Wales family. Those present for Charlotte's remarks describe Prince William and Kate as initially stunned by their daughter's clarity and forthrightness. Both parents reportedly listened attentively, exchanging only brief knowing glances. One source said that they realized immediately that Charlotte was speaking not out of childish frustration but from genuine concern. She seemed completely focused. While Kate reportedly comforted Charlotte, William is said to have asked a few gentle questions to clarify exactly what Charlotte overheard and what she meant by showing the real Queen Camilla. Insiders suggest the conversation was left unresolved, with William and Kate remaining quiet afterward, possibly weighing how to approach the situation without escalating tensions within the family. For now, palace walls remain tight-lipped, but Charlotte's promise to show everyone suggests that this story is far from over. But what do you think will be happening behind the closed palace doors in the following period? Let us know in the comments.